Today we are going to be disassembling the door of my 1985 Pontiac Fiero, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Alright, to start we're going to remove these three covers because there are screws under them that we need to access. So start by using a flathead or other trim pulling tool and pull those pieces out. Once you have those out, you take your trusty Phillips screwdriver and unscrew every single one of them. Now you may have noticed, now that we've removed some of these screws, some of these things are already getting pretty loose, which is a good sign. But we're not done removing screws quite yet. There will be two screw holes down there, and you want to unscrew these as well. Now that you have all the screws off, you can simply just pull the armrest off the door. And that looks pretty rusty to me. All right, now we're gonna focus on this piece of the door handle. We need to get this off to get the door apart, so let's go over how to do it. So first of all, we need to take this lock cover off. It just covers up the line that goes to the door lock, and mine was pretty easy to take off. All I had to do was wiggle it around a little bit, but thanks to movie magic, I'm just taking it off here. It might require a little bit of effort to get it off this rod here. Set that to the side. And now we're just gonna take the whole assembly, make sure the door handle is pushed as far in as it'll go, then pull outward and just slide it off like this. And you'll see we can't take it fully off because we have cables here and a connector for the power locks, if your car has that. Now we're gonna zoom out to the entire door, and all we have to do to take the door off is tug at the panels, like so. Make sure not to break any clips, but if you do, you can buy replacements online. They're not expensive, they're like 50 cents a clip. So just be careful though anyways, because it's just easier. And then once you do that, and now you can just pull the door off, but you have to be sure to thread this part through that hole. And now we've got the blank door with no interior part, which is what we want since we want to get in here and look at it. Now, if you can see, we actually still have some plastic clips inside the door. We're going to take those out real quick. Now this right here is the water shield. You don't really want to remove this, but in my case, it's really nasty and I'm going to be replacing them with Mylar ones anyway. So I am going to remove this. Now the inside of my door is really disgusting and I would like to clean it, so I'm going to do that right now. Marginally better. To clean the door, I just use a standard cleaner, but you can use whatever cleaner you want. Just be careful if you're going to spray it onto a rag and rub. There's a lot of sharp edges in the door, so don't cut your finger off. The problem with all the fasteners on this side is they're all rivets, so we can't take them off on this side and look at them. But an easier way to do it is, since it's a Fiero, the outer body panels come off and we can come at a door from both directions. If this is as far as you're going to go on the disassembly, great. We're going to go over a little bit of the anatomy of the door real quick. So right here, you obviously have the door handle and you can pull on it to open the door. This right here is the lock. You can push it in to lock and unlock the door, but my door is broken. That's why I have this open. So over here, these are those lines from earlier. If I open and close the latch of the door, you'll see that this moves because it's opening and closing the latch. Speaking of the latch, there it is. If I close the latch like that, and I pull the door handle, I can pull it open. I am using both hands. You can open up the latch like so, by holding the door handle open and pulling with a screwdriver or something else. To start, we have to remove this inner window seal right here. It's just connected by all these Phillips screws along the thing. It's on this little piece of metal. Let's just take that off real quick. Now that you've removed all those Phillips screws, you can take off this metal bracket right here that holds our inner window seal. Set that down very carefully. And now to remove the inner window seal, you literally just pull up and remove it like that from this metal layer. There's also a couple more pieces we should remove. There's little plastic caps here, and we're gonna wanna remove those. Now these pieces have glue on the underside of them, but in my case, that glue has completely rotted away. Now here comes the real problem, getting this plastic piece off the door. So it's held in a bunch of places. I'm gonna go over them. We have these screws right here. These bolts hold the door in. Someone's been in here before because that bolt is different than the rest. But usually this is like a T25, T30 sized screw. You have to be really careful about stripping these out. Like I imagine that's what happened there. When I was opening up the other side of the door, 2 of these stripped out on me, and I had to do what this guy did and put a bolt in there instead. So try not to do that. There's also one on the inside of the door right here, another one right there, and finally one at the very bottom right there. And that's all the screws, but we can't forget about the classic GM clips that are on the bottom of the door right here. And then one last spot right under the door, we have these 4 clips, classic GM style. Make sure you also undo this Phillips screw right here. Now I would highly recommend not using a screwdriver like this with a Torx bit in it. I would highly recommend using a ratchet or a wrench of some kind, because doing it like this is just, you have no leverage. But this is what I have right now. I don't have a ratchet that can take drill bits like this, so screwdriver it is. All right, now let's be aware, all of these clips under the car were an absolute nuisance to get off. So I would highly recommend doing things like needle nose pliers, a trim removal tool like this, flathead screwdrivers. That's all I could do to get them off, and 2 of them broke in the process. So again, just be very careful. It's a 40-year-old car. It's going to have some problems with getting the clips out. Now we only have one more thing to remove before we can take this outer plastic off, just the mirror. It is held on by 2, I believe, 10mm bolts, just like that in there. The annoying part is that they're really hard to get in because this is the only hole you can get at them from. So let's give it a shot. Now once you unscrew the mirror, just like that, you can pull it out, but there is a connector because I have the very luxurious power mirror model. So that means more work to get that connector unplugged. It's all the way in the car. Let me see if I can show it. All right, so what we're gonna do to get those wires out is just take some needle nose pliers like so, go down in there, and just pull it out. Be careful not to ruin any of the wires. And there's our connector. Now once you disconnect it, you can fully remove the mirror. There we go, mirror is off. Now once you've removed everything, it's time to take the door off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift the door from the bottom, because how the door sits, there's a little lip like this, and it sits on a little rail, and we have to lift it up like a hinge from the bottom. You can see it's already pretty loose. So we're just gonna do that real quick. There we go. There's still a little bit more to do, but we just have to get these off right here. All right, see this right here? There's a tiny little clip there, and we have to take that off to take this off this little lock rod. You just snap it off like this, twist it around, and then you should be able to just pull this out, just like that. Now, the door is disconnected. You may have to disconnect this from the thing, but all you have to do is lift up on the door and this should come off. And the outside of this door is absolutely disgusting as well, so let me clean it real quick. Definitely marginally better. I'm also going to clean out the inside of the door here. It's all right. It didn't really clean up that good. All right, check this out. I got my latch, my locking latch working. Just gonna hold this and I can lock it and unlock it from inside the car. And I can lock it and unlock it from outside the car. Just like so. All right, get a nice flat surface, and we're going to take this door and we're going to work on the lock. Because the reason why I have the door apart is A, to fix the locking mechanism, which I did, and B, to fix the lock, because that lock is busted. So now that we're focused on the lock, we're going to get this off. This is the little piece of metal that moves that rod back and forth that unlocks the door from the outside. So we're going to take that off, and how to do that, there's a little clip here, and we're going to take that off real quick. We're going to move this pin up, the one that's in the hole. Just use a flathead to do this, just like that. And then what we have to do, take some needle nose pliers, and just pull this little clip off. Be sure to line up the holes, and off it comes. Now we can just take off this right here, which I'm going to go clean this real quick. That's a lot better. I mean, this side's a little dirty, but I don't care. Now we have to get this lock out. If you turn the door over, this is where the actual lock is. We have to do a couple of things before we take the lock out, but it's pretty easy. I'll show you. If you look right here, there's a little metal thing. This is a little clamp mount, so it just like frictions and holds this lock in. This lock isn't really held in by anything else. It's just held in by this little thing. I'll show you real quick. You just grab onto it with some pliers and just, vice grips might be more optimal here. Just like that, this little clip comes out. Let's set that to the side. And now you can just pull the lock out. Oh, I did not expect that to happen. Usually these come out in one piece. This came out in multiple pieces. That's how bad this lock is, I guess. Pieces in there, probably. Emergency door flip. Alright, for me to replace my lock, I have to do one more thing because there's still pieces of the lock left in this hole. I can't get the new one in. So what we're going to do is take off the exterior trim by using these clips. I'll explain how to do it. To get the trim off, first we have to remove this. We just have to remove it. You're going to need a new one of these anyway. I have a package of them, but if you can really find anything to keep this on, it's better than what's on here right now, so we're going to remove it. These clips are very particular. They break a lot. They snap because they're old. And you can buy new ones on Fiero store. I have new ones here because I took apart the other door a while ago and all of these clips snapped because I put on and off the trim while I had the door on the car, which meant I didn't even know that there was a little imprint on the back here that you had to press in. So I broke all of them. Here are some new ones. All you have to do to get one of these clips going is just, you see that? You got to click this top part in and then push it out like so. Just use the meat of your finger, and then once you get it in there, you can kind of push it out fully. We got 4 of them, but you get the idea. Now once you've clicked all of those clips and made sure this over here is disconnected, then we're going to flip the door over and we're going to start taking it off. So if you look under here, you'll see underneath the door handle, let me see if I can get it on camera here, there's that little thingamabob, that little twisty. You got to twist that off because that's currently holding our trim in place. So let's do that. All right, now I got it undone. It is actually a clip. I thought it was a twisty. It's a clip, so you just got to kind of pull it out from the top or bang it out from the bottom. And then, of course, you can probably find a new one of these somewhere, but it's just annoying. GM, I hate clips. All right, so now that the door is upside down, we're just going to pull the trim up like this and then pull it out from underneath the door handle. Anyways, let's get back to it. You're going to need a couple of things to put the lock back in. You're going to need, of course, your little rod and your clip, the lock clip, and your lock. Now, what you do is you turn it around, anyway where it was, make sure that semicircle is facing upwards, and then you stick it into that hole right there. Make sure it's snug, just like so. Then you take this friction clip, and we just stick it in the side and get as far in as you can with just your hand. And then go ahead and use some vice grips and wiggle it back in. Just like so. And now that lock is not going anywhere. Now you just take this, slap it on like so. Don't forget your clip. And now look at that. You have the lock mechanism on. Now my phone died recording this part, so I'm just going to explain it here with some images. You know that locking rod, when you're putting the door back on, make sure you put that on with the clip correctly. Just do it in the opposite order we did. And then, of course, make sure that the door opening post goes into the hole it's supposed to. You can see it in there. It's just a tiny little hole with the spring. You want to make sure it's in there. And then you just kind of got to wiggle and shimmy the door back on, put the clips back in, put the screws back in, and then do everything.